Hello, guys. It's Retro Nerd Girl, and I'm broadcasting from out here in space. Having some transmission problems, so technical difficulties, but I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you so very much. You guys, I just am very glad to see you. We got Moonbeam in the house. Got 116 views yesterday. Very nice. Congratulations on that. And I see that Kimberly is here. And oh my goodness, says, take your time, Retro Nerd Girl. Thank you so much. You guys are so great. Um, so, um, so wonderful to me. So thank you so very much. Let's see. Uh, Giratana's Rising Renegades is also here. Says, good evening, Retro Nerd Girl. How are you doing? Hanging in there. It's a little bit crazy, but hanging in there. And Moonbeam says, dance, Jawa. All right. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to get right into this week's recording. It's really good. Here you go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so we're back for another week from the Gargoyles series. And we're just going to get your opinion, just generally what you think of these 4 episodes as a couple.
I do, like I said, I've said it multiple times. I love the beginning where they have the little speech that kind of gives you the lead into. These ones, for the most part, I was actually fairly happy with them. There's still something that's lacking.
I
agree. I wouldn't
agree.
quite say story-wise, but there's something that feels like it's missing.
Yeah. There's a lot of magic missing from it. I'll say this. I respect and like the fact that they seem to know, I would say, 75% of the lore from the first 2 seasons. There is some inconsistencies for me, and we'll attack each one as they come about. But
I only have like one real gripe when it comes to these 4 episodes, and I'm sure you're gonna, like, you probably had the same gripe when it came to that one.
Yeah. I think I can't wait to really dig in and really piece this apart, because there were a few things that were just like, I don't know about this. But yeah, there's that, and there's also, it's like this new gargoyle kind of thing going on, and then there's old gargoyle, and there's a few moments where I was like, yeah, they really captured the idea of what the gargoyle storylines were, and a couple that I think they didn't quite do so good on, but we'll get there when the time comes. But let's start getting into it. The first one up is And Justice for All, episode 7 of season 3. I can't even believe that we've seen all of the season 1 and 2 already, and we're already on season 3. And so the first thing that we've got here is Goliath's monologue, which we both love. I think he said this a few times before.
Pretty much every week at this point.
Yeah, he could just read a phone book and we'll be like, yes, please continue.
He could read the contents of a cereal box. I would be okay with it.
Oh man, well, have you checked the back of the cereal box? There's a long monologue of strange contents there. He would have a lot.
There is literally a guy I follow on Instagram that pretty much does that. He reads the boxes of whatever out of his fridge. And people eat it up because he's got one of those beautiful voices.
Oh, really?
Like Keith David. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll send it to you later. You'll love him.
Oh yeah, I want to hear. So he talks about the laws and the unlawful balance in society that keeps it running smoothly. So like the checks and balances of the society and its laws, and I thought that was really cool. And so I was like, oh, we got some law stuff gonna about to happen. We get the first thing that happens. There's some jewel thieves that try to rob a store, and the gargoyles intercept it, but it gets really, really messy. And the police arrive, and the only person left to lock up is Goliath, and he gets arrested, which is like what? How? This is
The
very
whole
interesting.
the fight was actually fairly decent.
Yes, yeah,
I mean, yes, during the point in the fight, I think he knocked the guy's gun out of his hand.
yes, and he grabs
And
the gun.
yeah, he grabs the gun.
Mhm.
And this is going to be something I'm going to say more than one in this episode. I really wish that they would get into the habit that they would get back into the habit of breaking the guns, because that's what they
Yes.
used to do.
Yeah. That's what they used to do. They're like, "Oh, a gun now," then, and they just toss it around
Yeah,
for
yeah,
somebody else to pick
we
it
don't
up.
approve of these. Psh. More than one in this session where I'm going to say, why didn't you do that?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of why didn't you do that in these episodes as well, and also why are you doing that for for a lot of
No.
things too. So yeah, the next one is that Elisa visits him in the jail. First of all, before we go any further, these beds that they've created for
How does
like
he on a
who
regular bed?
else are they putting in those jails?
Yeah, that's raising a lot of questions that I know we're not supposed to be asking, but yeah,
Yes.
how does he fit onto a regular bed? There's me wondering how uncomfortable it is with the wings.
Yeah.
Like, can they actually lie back with the wings like that? I don't know.
Yeah, and who's on the top bunk? That's what my goodness, this is really funny. But also the questions we have.
Yeah.
But Elisa visits Goliath and she's trying to keep things hush hushy. I suppose she doesn't want people to know that she's as involved as she is, but she lets him know that the witnesses won't come forward, and Goliath told her, she says to him, hey, we'll bust you out of here, but she's like, he's like, he wants to respect the process of the law. I think he wants to do this in order to help the outward look appearance of gargoyles in the public eye, and like they don't flinch away from their responsibilities or things that they're accused of. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, a few things. Like one, I will absolutely give him credit because this is, or give them credit, whoever, because this is something that he would have done
Yes,
anyway,
yes,
of respecting the human laws. That
yes.
was something that has always been part of him throughout the entire series.
Yes.
What confused me the most with this whole thing is how they refer to the witnesses, because they kept calling them street people.
Yeah.
It would take me out every time.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they just call them homeless? You know?
Oh, yeah. That's a good, because that's what they were. They
Because
were the
street
homeless.
people is such a weird statement.
Hmm.
And I admit, in this particular moment, I'm getting really distracted by how badly they and it was even during one of these 4 episodes, it caught me off guard with how badly they drew the wing joints.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they aren't following what would naturally happen.
Yeah.
And that's the artist in me. That's the
Oh,
pick.
oh gosh, no, you're not wrong about that because there were several. It's
There
very
was
hard
one
to look.
where he had the wing out and they're going It literally distracted me so much, I had to rewind that scene.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Because and also the wings also have little hands on there. There's a
it's
hook on there now.
that's essentially how the wings are designed, much like bat wings, where
Mhm.
it's, as best as I can say it, it's an exaggerated hand.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, there's a lot like I have problems with this new art style a lot.
Yeah,
And it's like
they struggled with his wings in this, and
yeah.
it's a nitpick for me because
Mhm.
I am a wing junkie,
Oh yeah.
but
But yeah, just a lot of things in general, and they
Mhm.
just don't seem to have a handle on Elisa's skin color,
She
her
does
skin tone. They're just all over the place with her.
change shade a lot.
So yeah, there's some instances where I'm like, oh, okay, they went a little light on that, and then they go back to the color.
Sometimes they go a little darker.
Yeah.
Maybe for the live action, they can cast Ariana Grande.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Maybe she would work. No.
It's me being catty style.
And so yeah, this was an interesting thing, and yeah, you're right. This is something that he would do because of Goliath's sense of morality. There's just a higher standard. He just wants to do things right, even though they may be the hard way.
And he down even Glaze, she's saying to him, and Thanatos has said that he will get you the best lawyer, and he's like, I've already gotten a state appointed one. And honestly, I love her.
Oh, she's so sweet.
I loved her from the moment she walked in.
She is so sweet. The city attorney works with him, Amy Schumer,
Mhm.
not to be mistaken by the celebrity Amy Schumer.
I don't. This is an unintended because she really was. Nobody knew who she was at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody.
Yeah,
I didn't know she existed.
no, she
Um,
didn't.
but
At that point in time, she would have been like a kid. So no.
yeah, I think so. I think so. And she's really out of, completely overwhelmed, not just with the fact that we're dealing with a supernatural being, the gargoyles, that's blowing her mind, but also,
Yeah, she's not inexperienced.
no, she's not an experienced lawyer, but you get the sense that she knows at least her stuff. Like she got there because of her hard work,
Oh, yeah.
and she's just so funny as she.
Such a sweet moment when they meet, though, because she stumbles or something, the papers fall.
Yeah,
So she starts to gather them up, and Goliath starts helping. She's like, "What are you doing?"
yeah. Yeah.
And this is probably why I automatically connected with her because her response was something 100% what I would have done. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? The whole startled and everything. He's like, I'm helping you pick up the papers.
Now, I don't know what happened before this, but she was like, "Oh my goodness, why do I have all the
Why do I
hard
always get the
cases?"
hard cases? Because in the middle of trying to interview him for this thing,
Mhm.
find out what happened,
Yeah.
the sun rises.
Oh yes, and he turns the
He
stone. Yeah, that's
he
it.
doesn't even get his full sentence out.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh man, why do I have to have all the hard cases?" Meanwhile, the news report reveals that there were eyewitnesses, which the robbers go out looking for. So it's
Why
like,
why why did the reporters like,
I
why did the
know.
cops let that slip? Why did the reporters share that? Because that automatically puts them in danger.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, it's on, and Elisa's also looking for them too. Lisa goes to see the clan while they're awake and tells them what happened to Goliath. And at first, they all want to get him out of jail, but Lisa tells them that Goliath wants the system to prove his innocence. And I was like, ugh. I was like, ooh.
The whole Broadway in Lexington, that was a regular, like a running gag in this one, I really could have done without. Because the moment Elisa tells them, Lexington's like, I know we shouldn't have left him. And, you know, Broadway's like, well, you said we'd be okay. Or the two of them bickering back and forth this entire episode. And Lexington's also always making some, I believed it or whatever. I really could have done without that. It got old fast.
Yeah, and I think that's because these guys don't know how to. They've been doing a great job. I'm not saying that they're bad at writing, as I think they did the best that they could do at the time, but they did not have a voice for Lexington. I think Hudson, they stumbled onto his a little bit, and they did a fairly decent one a couple of weeks back, and the one where he's
have their personalities down.
No, and poor Broadway. I mean, he's like
he's gotten the hardest. I am still struggling with Broadway season 3.
Yeah, he's not.
Nothing has changed my mind so far.
Yeah, he's really, really not the same person, and I don't know.
He was sweet and lovable for the first 2 seasons. I don't like him.
Yeah,
I don't like him in season 3.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a personality, and well, they don't even feature. Where's Bronx in all of this?
Yeah, where's Bronx? And throughout this whole conversation, like Hudson's taking point.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering, where's Brooklyn?
Yeah,
when Goliath isn't there, Brooklyn is in charge.
Yeah, Brooklyn is supposed to be.
Why is he not in this picture?
That's because they're not certain. They're confused a little. There's got to be there must have been some confusion as to who was going to do what, or even contracts. There could be contracts, because I noticed not everybody is in every episode. Not all of the main characters are in all of the episodes. Like, I noticed that Elisa is sometimes missing completely. Just in general, our core people are sometimes missing in a lot of episodes. It could have been contract situation, things happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of, but it shouldn't have affected the show, and where we're asking the question, like, where are our characters and why don't we see them? And
this was for me a big oversight.
Yeah,
because this is a scene where we should have seen him.
Yeah, this was his opportunity to show us again, like, how much of a leader he's becoming.
He is next in charge, and for Hudson to be the one taking charge, where that's something he would not in the situation. He'd be looking at Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like encouraging him, because that's part of who he is.
Yeah.
Like you're the one next in charge, lad. What do you think we should do?
Yeah. Or even ask, like, hey, where's Brooklyn? We need to see what he wants to do. No mention of him.
Yeah, he's not even there in this whole bit.
No. Yeah, which is, as somebody who is next in line, he should be there. And there are other episodes where he is there, so I won't harp on it too much. But this is part of the quality that has been somewhat diminished from the last season that we are noticing. And it's small and it's still enjoyable. You can still watch it and have a good time with it. But there are little things that really stand out that make you go, wait a minute, this isn't quite the standard that we're used to, which also speaks a lot of those other 2 seasons, how well they were written, how incredible they portrayed the characters, that we feel like we know them and we know the story, and the little things that are off are really standing out now. So let's see, in this scene in particular, Hudson's voice is slightly different. It's something that just came at me as I was listening, and I was like, okay, there's something strange going on with Hudson's voice. But anybody, please let me know if it's in my imagination. But his voice was just somewhat a little bit different. Maybe he was just reading it a little strangely, but didn't seem like it was the same actor.
If it was, he was probably picking up on like what we were just saying, where this isn't something that how he would do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that would probably explain the difference in tone.
Yeah, maybe he was just like, okay, let's just try it. Just
This is
take it
what you
once.
want. This is what you want me to say. This doesn't feel like something he would do. But
Yeah, yeah. I think
get a paycheck.
that was also part of the reason why it just didn't feel right. Maybe
Mhm.
maybe you're right about that. Like during the process of recording, he's like, "This is weird."
Yeah.
It came off on. They didn't even get another take, and also Xanatos too. And there are a couple of lines that Xanatos says that is completely detached from the moment, and
Mhm.
feels like he's just reading from a sheet of paper. It doesn't. It has no emotions or anything at all, and it's in complete contrast to the last two seasons where he's so good and it brings so much charm to that weird character. So yeah, just really strange. So Elisa tells them that Goliath said that there were witnesses and everybody goes out looking for these witnesses. Later that week.
Yeah, we see her talking with one, and he's like, I saw nothing, I know nothing,
Mhm.
and then runs off, and she follows him
Yes.
to find this lovely turd bucket, giving him the shakedown.
Mhm.
What did I say about talking to the cops? And
Yeah,
make sure the coast is clear before you shake down the witness.
I know. And this has been a week later, which I thought was very interesting. It's a little tricky, but Hudson and Angela help Elisa book this bad guy. So he is in the custody of the police now. The trial isn't going well, and Elisa isn't getting her suspect to talk at all. And she's as she's leaving, one of the police officers
Like,
asked,
why are you bothering?
yeah,
As you can see here, everybody knows the gargoyle did it. And
yeah,
Lisa goes,
yeah. She's like, what? You guys have already convicted him?
You can see she's contemplating doing the math in her head. Well, it'll cost me my badge if I smack this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really surprising, and I did like that little touch there with the dialogue because I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, they haven't even looked into it, and they're already accusing Goliath of the crime, and as just assigned it to him because that's just how this sort of mob mentality kind of works. You just hear something and like, yep, see, look, they're all this way, and of course, he's being blamed unfairly for this
Mhm.
crime. Goliath speaks in court to try to explain the way of the gargoyles and how it's just not gonna be something that they do to steal jewelry. I mean,
Yeah, we have no use for money.
yeah.
It's not like we're going out and buying groceries, which there was that issue. I did struggle with that in season 2, and I know that, like, where are they getting the food for their apartment?
Yes. Yes.
Not like they can walk into a grocery store, though.
Yeah. I was figuring that maybe Lisa was getting stuff for them.
Clearly, high fashion is not their worry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just a loincloth full of stuff in there. It probably makes rattling noises.
Yeah, I know
There's so much junk in there.
the millennia old loincloth with the magic pockets.
I know, right? They're great. And so meanwhile, the robbers are actually with the anti-gargoyle protesters outside the courthouse. My question is, for these robbers that were doing a sort of like a petty theft, kind of,
Yeah,
maybe even if it was just petty theft, it was also
it wasn't
they're
exactly petty. They did blow up the door of the
yeah,
jewelry store.
yeah.
So
And so
there's a little more than just basic petty theft. Petty
what's
theft,
that?
sneaking in, you're like maybe busting the door, but you don't blow it up.
Yeah, well, they're violent. robbers.
If it's a
But
jewelry store, that automatically goes into grand theft.
grand theft. Okay. Yes. So grand theft, wouldn't you be trying to escape or leave the vicinity or, set up your next thieving job to get your hands on more like money. Instead, they are wasting their time trying to make sure that a gargoyle takes the rap for them, which and there's no leads except for these people who aren't going to talk. I understand the logic of cartoons. Some things don't always make sense, but they're
This was
going out
actually
of their
something
way.
that made sense for me, actually.
Oh yeah.
I do follow a lot of
Oh, the kitty cat.
crime stuff, and that actually happens a lot, especially in the case of like serial killers,
Okay.
where they actually will, like, it's alarming how many times especially if there's been a offing type situation, whether it be a serial killer or just random, where the killer will actually join the search party to look for the victim.
Oh,
It's alarming how often that happens.
Okay. See, I'm glad you're here to explain this to me, because I'd be like, how are you trying to get out? But there are some people who are professional at, you would say, like, if you're a professional at what you do, that's what you would
You think the logic would state,
yeah.
Okay, you're implicit in this crime. Stay clear away from the situation as people are investigating it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen in real life.
Yeah.
Very often you will find them, if there's an investigation, the person guilty will be there on the sidelines watching. Sometimes even helping out in the investigation.
Glad you're here. Yeah, I'm so glad you're mentioning that, because that is something I didn't even think of.
It's one of those details that got me so fascinated with that situation. Again, especially with serial killers, because of how often this happens. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well that settles that. That's the reason why that these guys are and they're a part of this this anti-gargoyle protesting. There's some quarrymen in there as well. It's really insane.
Yeah, quarrymen are going to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And so they're actually pretty scary that they're after the gargoyles like that. Amy Schumer tells Goliath that they are probably going to lose the trial, and Goliath simply says, "No one believed me," and Amy says, "I believe you." And that was,
I believed you.
Yeah. And that's actually quite a nice moment, because he has.
I love this. I love this Amy Schumer. She's so sweet.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where if you were wondering before whether she was, if she had integrity, this is definitely that moment when you're like, oh yeah, she's a good person. On his way to sentencing, it's really insane. The angry mob, led by the robbers in disguise, turns over the truck. And there's a quarryman who helps things along there.
And the driver was such a turd. He's like calling in for backup, and then he's running off like, I'm not going to get killed for some freak.
It's really insane. I mean, they actually turned over the truck, and poor Amy is inside. They didn't care that she was in there. They look at her as an enemy because she's
helping him.
Yeah, because she's helping her. She's just doing her job. He manages to, and it gets really, he hulks out.
He was like, we all knew this was going to come, because he's strong enough. He could have broken out at any point.
Oh, at any point, yeah.
So yeah, he does. He breaks the chains, which I think that happens multiple times in these couple episodes.
Yeah.
He breaks open the chains. He rips through the side of the armored truck. And she's like, no, don't, because you really think he's going to just go like lay the smackdown on these guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he reaches down, carries her, lifts her up, and climbs up the side of the building instead of smacking them around.
It was a real King Kong moment. I thought of.
Yeah. As he's climbing up, and I'm thinking, you forgot the guy, the guy in the other side of the van.
Oh yeah.
There's always two people in the front.
Yeah.
You left him behind to the mercy of the mob.
I know. And yeah, that was crazy. So on the top of the rooftop, he's joined by the other gargoyles, and they try to convince Goliath again to leave with them. Like, come on, let's just get out of here, and we'll get you out of here. And Goliath refuses and asks Amy for her tape recorder because he looks like he has an idea.
Yeah.
And so he also says that this is a problem that he has to solve on his own. It's very interesting. Again, the integrity of Goliath. These guys know how to write Goliath. You know what I mean?
They do have him very well.
Yeah.
And again, this is quite often the downfall of these villain, bad guy type people. That actually does happen quite often in real life. If they had steered clear of this situation, they would have been okay with it. But because this whole group is being led by one of the guys from the robbery, as soon as he says something as Goliath's climbing up the wall, he's like, I know that voice.
Yes. Yeah.
Which gets the wheels turning.
Yes. So what I didn't mention, and I'm glad you mentioned that, this is the reason why he grabs for that tape recorder.
Yeah.
He solves the mystery of his own the crime.
He's like, I have an idea. You guys take Amy, take her to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And don't come after me.
And so let's see. All right. So he goes to the jail cell as the robbers are breaking out their guy out of jail. I was asking myself, where are the wardens in all of this? There's
wardens, jailers, like, anyone in a suit that works there and has a gun.
Yeah. But I don't know, the janitors that work there. Like,
seriously.
There was nobody in there.
Yeah. I would take a John Wick style janitor with, busting them up with his mop.
There was nothing. So all of these.
That's a movie that, if anyone from the industry, make that movie.
The janitor.
It'll be Jason Statham movie.
Oh, that would be awesome. He convinces the bad guy that he's like, since he's taking the rap for this crime, that he's just gonna now work with him from now on. And he's like, show me everything. And and so the guy's like, yeah, so okay, that's the last time we're gonna do a job without you, and basically confesses on tape that he let Goliath take the rap for him.
Everything Goliath wanted.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so that was easy. We need that easy button.
Yeah, we did it, and we're guilty. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, so Goliath is innocent, and Goliath manages to, right after, he just grabs him and flies off.
He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna escape together, and has the guy on his back, and the guy's not even why they're flying near the courthouse.
Yeah, like, you're going in the wrong direction.
As they're getting close to the courthouse, like, yeah, you can really get used to traveling like this.
Yeah. Goliath takes him to the courthouse and clears his name, and with his confession on the tape, and is dismissed. Now, before he's dismissed, he was really smart. He's like, I know that this is not within the rules, that we did things that were outside of the rules, but hopefully you can see that I am innocent of these crimes, and so on and so forth. And I love that. I love when Goliath does his talking. And again, I think this really is a great demonstration of the fact that they know Goliath as a character very well.
They they did acknowledge, and the fact that they did acknowledge that this could have been tossed out by
Yeah.
all rights, could have been. It's just for me. I'm still laughing over, as soon as he plays the thing, and the guy's like, "That's not me. He forced him to make me say it." And the cheesiest damn.
Oh man, yeah. They dismiss it. So let's keep going. The reporters outside of the courthouse are like some of the rudest kind. They're like, make him talk. One of them says.
Yeah, go over here, over here.
And he's like, "What is happening?" And she's like,
"Can you talk? Can you,
And Amy's like, "Well, there you go. That's you wanted this to be a public trial." Elias says thank you to Amy, which is really nice. He says, "Thank you for believing in me," and she says, "Thank you for believing in justice." And I think that was really nice. I mean, in our world, it can be, and in the world of this particular show, justice can be very much like you can like lose your faith in justice.
Oh yeah.
But it was very nice that
like I said, they left it off there. Would have been absolutely perfect. But of course, they go over to the gang, and Lexicon goes, "I always knew he'd be,
yeah.
Shut up."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was their attempt to make some, make it funny, but
yeah,
it didn't quite work. But it again, they could have just ended it right there. They
just ended climbing up, flying off,
and then
the peanut crew.
Yeah, show the moonlight and him flying in the moonlight. Like they've done that many, many times. Okay. So this one, season 3, episode 8, Genesis Undone. Goliath's monologue talks about science has given mankind the tools to challenge nature, and there's a warning about misusing this power. And it's like, okay, I like that. And so it's a stormy night, no TV reception, so Hudson's very grumpy. They got that right.
I laughed because like Hudson's going, yeah, Lexington said that this satellite would work, all the time, and anyone who's had satellites know that that's not the happening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, satellite TV dishes and all that.
Man, you get a cloudy day and the satellite goes, no.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. A gargoyle flies to the castle, and Angela immediately thinks it's Broadway, but it's actually his clone, Hollywood. And he's asking for help and is visibly being overcome by some sort of disease. Derek comes in to explain the disease and how it's affecting all of the clones. And the only people that they can think to help them are the originals. So it's really sad. Isn't he adorable? So look at him. Oh.
Minus the green bubbles. Like, I know they were going off, like trying to come off as... Cat's got the zoomies, sorry. I know they were trying to go off as some sort of like disease or even like a lichen type thing, but it's just looking like, green bubbles.
It's not attractive, and
it doesn't look like super threatening. It just looks like they got slimed.
Yes. And that's also, and I don't know if it's just something to do with just the way, the animation or anything, but it's just kind of weird. It's like,
it was a choice.
I mean,
not loving the choice.
Even if you look at Hollywood, right? Look at him here and then look at him there.
Yeah.
It's almost like they they got him in on different parts of his face and body. It was not even consistent. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with this, but I'll let it slide because it's just conveying the basic idea that there's some kind of weird thing happening with these guys and they need help. They don't look so good. Which is sad because they were never treated properly, even by
They did not get a fair shake, no.
No. And Thalog was their creator, and when he died,
Thalog and Savarius.
Yeah, it was very interesting because we'll talk about that point a little bit later. They've gone to go see the clones, and they say the clones say that Dr. Savarius says that they need a concentrated tissue collection from the original donors in order to help stop this from happening, in order to create this antidote serum. No one trusts Savarius, but there seems to be no other option. And I was like, did anybody try looking around? Or can we find Damona? She knows a little bit about some of this stuff. Can we find? I'm not sure if you can trust her though. Can you find? Can you find Xanatos? He's not your friend, and so he knows a lot about this kind of stuff. Can you find someone who can help you other than Savarius, because he's made several attempts to destroy them. It would be just really great if they could try to find somebody else, but it does not seem to cross their minds. They immediately just they don't want to do it, but then they're like, okay, we
want to help them initially, and it's like, this is like even me. I'm like looking at as they're going. Well, they're just clones. What are we? They're still gargoyles.
Yeah,
we're helping them.
They're still alive, and they got a bad. I think even the originals didn't treat them so great.
No, they didn't.
They were like, okay, they're freaking us out. Didn't teach them the way of the gargoyles or anything.
Yeah, even in this episode, they were hesitant to help them.
Yeah, and dumped them off with Derek. I thought this was sort of like the missed opportunity to kind of rectify that. But they fly over to Dr. Savarius's lair, while onlooking a gargoyle watches.
We all know who it is.
And
as soon as we saw the slimy feet, we knew. I know. I'm just going to call it slime at this point. That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like, and I think the color is throwing everybody. If it would have been like darker green, it might have been
something different. Because it just looks like. Did you ever watch You Can't Say That on TV?
No.
The kids show?
No.
I don't know if it was a Canadian thing or whatever, but they always had this, and there was always something like some word you couldn't say or something like that. Mm-hmm. And if you said it, you would get dumped by slime. It's the same color.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Nickelodeon slime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like he's gotten sick as well. And yes, we know he's a clone. Mm-hmm. And so they like literally wake Dr. Severus up from his bed. But I think, when I saw him in bed, and then when he sees the gargoyles, he tries to go back to sleep. I'm like, this is a big act, isn't it? That's what I thought. But anyway, he pretends he's not
he could
really
be ordering pizza. I don't trust him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Imagine him ordering pizza.
Legit, they could show him. I want a large cheese pizza. I can't do Tim Curry. I am so sorry. I will think there's something sketchy about it with him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. He is not to be trusted, even with the simple task of ordering pizza. Put some anchovies on it or something.
Yes.
And So he's like, they're like, you've got to fix this problem. He's like, oh, okay, well, he spends like an hour or something in the lab, and then he says, oh, well, the same thing that the clones had said before, that and they're deteriorating, and the gargoyle tissue will prevent that from happening. So you've got to donate tissue, and we go through, it's almost like going through the same conversation again. I think they just ran out of I'm not sure if they just didn't realize that they said the same thing all over again, but it was
probably,
we went through the same
reiterating whatever.
the same thing we heard a few moments earlier. So I was like, okay. And I thought for a second there, I was like, Dr. Severus is too happy about this. Look at that face.
Yes.
Look at
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
I need your genetic material. Oh no, don't give him to him. It's like, don't do it.
Mm.
Oh man. And
straps them to this little table,
Mhm.
and they're legit going, are you going to leave anything left for us?
Yeah. And he's trying to extract as much as possible. It is very suspicious because they have no guarantee that he's going to do the thing that he's claiming he's doing, or if he's really doing something else. They just have to trust him, and that is something he doesn't deserve because of his past, basically. But they feel like they have no choice. So if you're not too worried about this, all I can say is that I think something's up.
Yeah. If you're not too worried about this, you haven't been paying attention.
Exactly. And again,
it's not like he's making Jello.
Yeah, again, he's too eager to help, which is unlike
it's
him at
never
all.
good with him.
Yeah,
that's never a good sign with him.
And there's no one around to check him. See, like if there was, maybe Xanatos knows a little bit about this kind of stuff, can follow this stuff a little bit better, and he's
apparently
an ally.
Xanatos has already cut him loose.
Yeah.
Which that's not the person I'd cut loose.
Yeah, that's the kind of person you want to watch.
That's the person you want to keep close tabs on, no matter what.
Oh yeah. Because he's dangerous.
Especially, he's also got a lot of dirt on Xanatos too. So
I
would.
Ooh,
I wouldn't. Yeah, because he's the whole Derek and that clan and everything, and God only knows what else they've been up to together. I wouldn't. I would keep him on a very short leash with the amount of like if I was Xanatos.
Yes,
I would keep on a very short leash with the amount of information he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just their dealings alone is just yeah. And in the whole process, Dr. Severus comes up with a serum. Now, I remember he was collecting a lot of genetic material. He was like, oh, I'm gonna have, remember back in the day, he was collecting a lot of genetic material. He was gonna start a zoo, and
he wanted to collect the Loch Ness Monster.
He was trying to collect the Loch Ness Monster and all sorts of things. So I was like, okay, what's happening? He's got eel juice and and DNA from panthers and all. It's just he's a hot mess of DNA tampering. At this point, we should be on high alert as to what this man is doing. He's just as he's about to administer his serum, Thalog bursts in and wants all of it. And it's like, okay, doesn't want to share any of it. It's just the whole thing. And they would have been willing to share. Then he gets the better of the clan, even though he is outnumbered. He really
wounded.
Yeah, he really gets him really good. And then he steals the serum.
Sorry, he gets the better hand of them because of the weapon he's holding, which again, they get out of his hand. And I'm like, break it.
Yeah.
Break
no,
it.
they don't break it.
No, he's got a remote control on it that makes it fly away and, you know, can fire and shoot nets. And again, you guys broke these things automatically previously.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought, I thought it was interesting that this gun was remote control.
Mm.
But for some reason, I thought I didn't like that technology that much because I thought it's too easy of a gimmick.
Yeah, there's also the practical side of me that's like,
Hmm.
okay, it's not like hover technology like with the drones that we see nowadays.
Yes.
No, it had fire jets
Yeah, fire jets.
coming out of the gun to
And
make it
I was
right.
like,
And
okay.
this is an accident waiting to happen.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. And it was just like, this is so impractical. Like, even if you told me that he had magical powers, that would have worked. But this is just it was just a step too far in the
Yeah,
realm of
like the
science
Tony
fiction.
Stark type jets.
Yeah,
No.
no. Didn't work for me, even if it was cartoon logic, if you will.
Mhm.
So yes, he steals the serum and then flies away with it. During the fight with Thaylog, the entire clan gets knocked out, and so the clones are being coached by by Severus to go and follow
Yes, go
Thaylog.
find him. He's got your serum.
Yeah,
It's your only chance. You're not going to see the sunrise.
yeah,
Go, my children.
and they
Find my
go
pretties.
up.
Wait, wrong movie.
Yeah. And they go off and go after Thaylog. And just as the clan wakes up, they're like, okay, what happened? And
They left and I couldn't stop them. With that really fake dramatic, like, my God.
yeah, oh, very dramatic. It's very, yeah,
I couldn't
it's
stop them no matter what.
and this should have been the red
Somebody should have been
flag.
tipped off to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's like all of a sudden he's a good guy. Nah, that's not his style unless there's something in it for him. And
Mhm.
so they were all lies, all lies. Thaylog goes to a remote location in the woods where
Like an early nut with, like, a late '90s laptop, my God.
yeah, so cute, and it's has a remote control. Look at the dish right behind him.
Little
Yeah.
tiny satellite dish.
And talks to Dr. Severus, and it was actually all an act, and Dr. Severus and
Yeah.
Thaylog have been in
Oh,
cahoots with.
they believed it. I apparently put on a fabulous portrayal. No, you didn't.
But it's a double cross, actually. Thaylog has his stolen serum is actually an advanced deterioration serum.
Yeah, which honestly did not surprise me.
Yeah.
It was like the virus or whatever it is weaponized like even faster. As
Mhm.
soon as he sent the other, like as soon as he let Thaylog run off with it, I'm like, he's got another one. It's the same thing with Derek all over again.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And this is not his first time lying about a serum. This is maybe, I think, his third time.
Fourth?
Oh,
Third,
maybe
fourth,
four.
something. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
'Cause I remember,
Third would probably be accurate. Third off the top of my head, at
yeah,
least.
yeah, because I know for sure Maggie almost drank something, and I was like,
Yep.
don't do it.
Everyone was going, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't drink it. She's like, no, but don't turn this back. It's gonna kill you.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't believe for a second that the initial serum that he was going to give Derek to change him back to human, I don't believe that was real either.
I don't think so either. Thaylog actually takes the serum. The real serum is still with Dr. Severus for his own special project. And he is
Mhm.
also saying how free he is from everyone's bullying. Everybody is always coming to him and forcing him to do things he does not want to do. It makes sense. I mean, you kind of feel a little bad for him, but not much, because his tactics of what he's doing is
Yeah,
really
I didn't feel
awful.
bad for him.
Yeah.
People are booing you for a reason.
Yes, and this is his project here, this giant gargoyle son, little Anton. Very, very interesting. And of course, his first name is Anton as well. So
Yeah,
is
little Anton.
really cute. I mean, this thing is huge. And the clan returns after finding all of the clones have turned into stone, and it's not morning. So this is a dormant state that they're probably going to be until there's a cure or some way to bring them back. And
Mhm.
so they go back to Dr. Severus's lab only to find him acting very strangely, which he could have easily covered up. They would have went home and he could have just hung out with his son all day long, but
But
he wanted
he's gotta be dramatic.
yeah, he wanted the fight, and so he calls his son to fight the gargoyles, and it's
These are the
on.
bad guys that Daddy told you about.
Yeah, and this Anton is super super strong. He's just impressive, but Paylog shows up.
He's like, I watched you take the shot.
Yes.
Unless you see him like literally in front of the camera going, no,
Yeah.
you didn't see him do it.
And even still, I wouldn't believe that.
Pretty much.
So he faked it. He faked taking the serum, and he's still dying though. He's still
It's just
it's
because he's
still,
stronger than the rest, he's dying slower.
yes, and he gives Goliath the doctor's petrifying serum and says, "How did I enjoy causing you grief?" And that's where I was like, "Huh."
Mhm.
That was not that. I love the line. I think it's very, it's poetic and
Yeah.
all that stuff, but it's not Thalog. It's not his
No,
character.
kind of is.
Well,
It kind of is, kind of isn't.
yeah,
Was he like a weapon of chaos? Absolutely.
yes,
You know, he generally did. I could see that he would enjoy, you know, going after Goliath and all of his fathers and all of that. Just to
yes, that's it. And so that's where I was sort of like, okay, yeah. I mean, it. Like I said, I like the line, but I think it doesn't really stand
it
for Thalog because Thalog was more like
they looked out for
Xanatos.
Thalog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then also he wanted to outdo Xanatos.
Mhm.
Xanatos was his like Xanatos trained him to be Xanatos.
Like
And
Thanatos, yeah.
Xanatos is not even Xanatos is not even the same man anymore.
Mhm.
So he, this masterminder, tricks. I wouldn't say trickster, but
No.
um, like this person who's behind the scenes masterminding things and gaining power. It
Mhm.
is something that he was really talking about in the first in season 2, and then it was him and Demona coming up with the company and him doing all those tricks to try to make sure that happened. That was sort of his thing. This is a little bit. This kind of took me back because I was like, wait a minute, Thalog. Uh, I know he did not like Goliath, but Goliath wasn't the bane of his. Like he didn't go to
Wasn't
like
exactly the bane of his existence, but he did
yeah.
want Goliath to not be around.
Yeah, no, of course.
Mhm.
Thalog doesn't want any of these guys to be around. It's like he's like the male version of Demona. If you could, they were
They
Cole.
definitely had allied interests.
Yeah,
You know, she didn't want the humans to be around. He doesn't want anyone to be around.
yeah, yeah. He doesn't
Human or
want
gargoyle.
yeah, yeah. So that's where I was like, I was kind of confused by that as far as like, well, you kind of got it right, but also not. Goliath injects the serum into Anton, immediately brings on the virus, and he turns to stone all at once. It's really funny because as he's turning into stone and he's having his problems, Dr. Sivers is like, everything is gonna be all right. I'm gonna be right here for you.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so you care about this thing, huh? It's really wild. But I guess if there's ever going to be a time for Dr. Severus to
Yeah.
act like a human being, it would be to, one of his own creations. And oh yeah, and Goliath says, sadly, um, he felt sorry for little Anton because
Yeah.
he didn't deserve any of the, he didn't deserve this to happen to him. And yeah, I mean, this is the sort of the thing with all the clones in this whole storyline. They really are expendable. I thought this was nice. They take the clones to the castle Wavern, and they are just perched
They've
on.
taken somewhere. I'm not sure if this was Castle
Oh
Wyvern
no,
or
no, no! Oh yeah, you're right.
library.
Yeah, this is not Castle Wavern. Why did I
Yeah.
think it was Castle? Well, it was nice that they
Lord.
put it was nice that they put these guys somewhere where they were gonna look, impressive, and I almost feel
Personally, I would
like,
have brought them to Castle Wyvern because, quarrymen are still a factor.
yeah, that's
But yeah,
that's
the thought was good because like Goliath's like, well, maybe at some point in the future somebody will figure out how to depetrify them,
yeah, yeah, and yeah,
assuming they can escape the quarrymen.
yes, yes. And so one thing I did notice was that this episode had no quarrymen in it. Yeah, they weren't in it, and so I was like, I like it when the quarrymen are not in the storyline. And this was like back to form for me. I felt
Mm.
a lot of season 2 in it, even though I had complaints about some of the details. I did feel like, oh, okay, this really feels like they are borrowing a lot from season 2. And but what might have been a big problem is, like, have we lost Lexington in this whole thing? Lexington is very knowledgeable about computers and different things. He's really
Yeah,
smart. He could have figured out something too. And like, we're leaving all of this to Xanatos, but as far as like the other person who could figure some of this out, but
technology
Lexington,
is his thing.
yeah,
I don't think so much
science,
genetic science stuff.
yeah. But there is a component, like most of the stuff that Severus was doing was on the computer.
Mhm.
And so, like, even if he could have like learned
He
some of
could
the
have dug
stuff,
that information up and
right,
yeah.
exactly what purpose this was in this file, that kind of stuff. Not necessarily this, learning the science, but learning about what the different plans were in the database. And I don't like, that's just one thing. But again, I feel like Lexington in the first 2 seasons had more of that, like, okay, we're going to figure out this, this computer thing, or we're going to
Yeah.
do more. He's just lost in it all. In fact, most of the people, most of the clan is just lost in it all, in the mix of it all. So that's something I hoping we get to reclaim.
That's probably what's been bugging me because yeah, it's not right.
Yeah, something's a little bit off about the attention and the characters, like each of them individually. Um, and yeah, so well, that's the end of this one, and we're up to generations. I like this one
This one
actually.
did have some feels to it.
Yeah, yeah. And there was a strong callback to season 2. Goliath does his monologue, and he talks about the bond between a parent and the child. And we also get like a little focus on Angela watching some people on the
Watching a mother and daughter.
yeah, that was really cute. And you can see the longing in her face that she
Mhm.
wants to have something with Demona. Now this is a wild situation. I could have left out of the whole thing, but uh,
Yeah.
so okay,
I
yeah,
see why they included it because it was important to the storyline. It's just it did feel like a throwaway.
yeah. Well, I'll get to some more of my complicated feelings about this, but Goliath, Angela, and Brooklyn are out doing patrol, and
Mhm.
they hear a young lady is being attacked by 4 guys, and they go in there and they beat up the guys, and then it turns out that it was a trap. I mean, the girl starts laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty
like
close to that, yeah, actually.
what the heck? And then they were like, okay, what's
Uh,
going on here? At that point I would be climbing the
yep,
buildings
climbing the
trying to
walls.
leave. Yeah. Like I'm out. But they realize that it's a trap by the quarrymen in particular. And I have a specific issue with this. It looks like the girl um, was in on it as well, and the
Mhm.
quarrymen basically come out of the woodwork to fight the gargoyles, and in many ways win. It's frightening because the quarrymen, um, their motivation completely doesn't make sense to me. I can't compute. Um, it does not compute.
Yeah.
They know that the gargoyles are going to save people that are in trouble.
Mhm.
So what makes them evil about doing that?
They're monsters.
Yeah. Why are they attacking people who are trying to clean up the streets and keep the streets safe? And they know that in order to trap the gargoyles, they have to set up a situation like this. So it's very, very difficult for me to understand why the quarrymen want and hate the gargoyles so desperately. Um,
They This is just because I've researched into this stuff so much.
okay.
The whatever it is that drives people to hate others for just because they're different, it fascinates me because again, I don't it's not something I can fully wrap my head around,
Mhm,
but the best I could turn around and say is they do this. It doesn't matter that the gargoyles do want to clean up the city, do the protection.
mhm,
Like clearly they understand this motivation,
mhm,
but it's just because they're different.
mhm.
And that's the only thing I could come
Come
up
up.
with.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, I can go with that for a while, but I just need a little bit more
I
juicy detail. Like,
I've said it before, the design and the clear inspiration behind the Quarrymen,
mhm,
it it definitely looks like a blend of 2 very famous hate groups.
yeah. And the thing about those groups though, that is like there's like generational influences, right? They grew up with a lot of the stuff
No,
that's
not
going
not
on.
not necessarily. I mean,
Mm.
the German one,
Oh
they,
well,
that got traction very fast just because of similar propaganda that
mhm.
these guys do.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of propaganda
Mm,
in this world. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I guess maybe my thing is I just am tired of them.
I'm I'm tired of yeah, me too. I'm tired of the Quarrymen, and I'm tired of what the Quarrymen are representing for real life as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really exhausting, and I don't mind it for 1 or 2 episodes, and again, with a little, because it makes sense that people are like, "Oh, these creatures are different, and so let's kill them," or, which I would be more interested if there were scientists that were trying to, like, figure out how they work and how they tick, and, like, government scientists that were like, "Hey, we these new creatures,
Very
let's, like, figure
At
out
the
what's
very
going on with
least,
them."
I know, right? At the very least, show me that the cops are interested in these guys,
Yeah, yeah,
because they're doing that whole vigilante thing that, I'm sorry, no police force likes,
yeah,
and they're destroying things,
yeah,
putting
yeah,
people at danger, and
yeah,
show me that at least the police force is interested
yes,
or
yes.
looking for these guys.
The quarrymen, yeah, and they're very, very vicious to human beings that
Yeah,
are sympathizers, or if you happen to even be in the vicinity, they're willing to blow up buildings, they're willing to, which, all of this stuff is very, um, it's just awful, and I also would have appreciated it if there was sort of a counterbalance with, like, people saying, "Hey, we're not gonna take this anymore. These guys are out of hand with what they're
yeah,
doing." If you're gonna bring in these real world kind of people or groups
like
that's that extreme, we should get should get
something.
something like opposing that as well. Um,
A news report or something talking about them, showing us that there are people that are at least talking about it. Why
yeah.
is
Like all those guys that got hurt last week when we were reviewing one of
Mhm.
the episodes, like if that happened to me, I'd be like, okay, we need a task force to deal with these guys. You know what I'm saying? The cops
Something.
know about them. The cops
Yeah,
know about them, and so this is, yeah. We need a counterbalance for this, for these guys, because it is the storyline is getting very weary at this point. If you're going to use it, you need something. And I also, it would have been cool for me. I mean, as someone who loves characters, just to hear like some of the reasoning why these individuals want, why they're like that, especially the person that they actually mentioned,
mhm.
John Castaway. Like, hey, this is the detail on John Castaway.
Yeah,
This is his
what
back.
is his motivation behind this?
Yes,
You
because
know,
he's the
or is
leader
there s
here.
or is there somebody above Castaway, which is
Exactly.
getting into this episode?
Yes, yes.
Because
Which is kind of strange too. I'm not
yeah,
sure,
I mean,
'cause we don't really
these
get
guys
answers.
yeah, these guys fight with the gargoyles, they get them trapped in nets again. The net thing's getting a little tiring at this point
Yes.
because we've seen it in just about every episode this week.
Yeah. They used it like so many different times.
It's played
Um,
out a bit.
yeah,
Um, and, in the process, there's, like, Demona comes in and
oh, there
tries
we
to
go. Yep.
rescue the gargoyles against these people, which, of course, you and we mentioned this, I think, a week or 2 ago, when it comes to the Quarrymen, like, where the hell is she? This is the kind of, human that she is always griping about.
Yes. Yes.
You figured these would be prime targets for her, and finally she shows up, to rescue her daughter, and then somebody fires at her out of the blue and off of a various rooftop, and we see him disappear. My first
Mhm.
thought is, finally we get to see the guy who's funding this operation.
Yes. That's okay, this guy.
Like,
Um,
I'm thinking this guy is the mastermind behind the whole
everything.
thing.
Yeah. He looks different. He doesn't have the Quarterman suit.
Yeah,
It's a totally different thing, and he's got like up some
and he's
kind of
got
fancy technology that allows him to go stealth,
yeah,
invisible. And so, not to go ahead, but he really acts like a master at what he's doing. And so I was like, okay, who's this guy? I'm looking all over the place for a name, a character,
something.
no name.
We get to see a fraction of his face
Yeah.
for, like, a few frames.
Oh, yeah, it's coming. I got a picture of that. Yeah, it's really,
Thank
really
you.
frustrating because I was like, who this?
Yeah,
Who this? We're bringing in a brand new character, and it's possibly he could be one of the most incredible characters this season.
yeah. I mean, he's got
And
technology that we haven't even seen with Xanatos.
yes, okay.
The fact he can
Stealth.
go invisible.
Yeah, yeah. And he can track gargoyles very easily.
Mhm.
And he knows, he just knows things about the gargoyles, which really impressed me. I was like, who is this? Um, Demona gets shot by this guy, and Angela saves her. But has she changed? Is the big question, and everybody is wondering. The entire clan is like, nope, she's not changed. She's crazy, the day's long. Don't trust her, and just like, no, I want to give her a chance. I mean, maybe she can change. We just don't
I mean,
know.
and Goliath even said in, like, a previous episode about knowing how a child's love can change you,
Yes,
but they're still not giving her the benefit of the doubt despite the fact we have seen her rescue Angela multiple times.
yeah. There's definitely something there between her and Angela. Some sort of like love, if
Mhm.
there is something she's capable of. But you can't fully trust her because her methods of doing things is so twisted. So that's the problem with Demona is she doesn't do anything, you know.
I really wanted to believe Damona in this episode.
I know, I know. So, they kinda grow a little bit closer as they're, navigating through, like, escaping this weirdo with the, that goes stealth, and he's, like, tracking them, but sometimes they know that she's tracking them, and sometimes they don't get
Angela
it.
can pick up something with him, she calls it a shimmer.
Yes, yes.
So,
Like, there's something that she can see, but it's not something that's on him all the time because it's
yeah.
so good. It's a really great technology. The next night, Angela leaves to seek out Demona, but Demona finds her. But meanwhile, the weird guy, Colin, has been following them and heard the entire exchange between them as far as trying to connect as mother and daughter. So
Mhm.
he knows like that gargoyles are not just monsters. They're like they have interpersonal relationships, and he sees their humanity or what's like humanity, and still doesn't matter. He thinks that
Yeah.
he's just tracking another victim. Demona and Angela train as they fight, so it's kind of weird. They do like sort of a play fight thing, which is
It was kinda cute.
yeah.
I thought it was kinda cute,
Yeah. Do I have the
Yeah,
right
never
spelling?
let your guard down, and you never underestimate your opponent, and
Yeah.
it was cute, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so in a way, it was sort of Demona training her daughter to, watch her back and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Demona goes on and on about humans hunting gargoyles, and Angela is, like, very optimistic about the whole thing, like,
It's like,
she's like
humans aren't all bad, I was raised by humans,
yeah,
and as soon as she
and
mentions Goliath, Damona's like, "Goliath, calm down."
They're like, where is he? Where is he?
He's my enemy. Yeah, no, calm down.
Yeah. Angela goes back to the Castle Wavern to get some help from the clan because they both know that the guy is tracking them, but at the same time, they believe that if
Yeah,
they
we're
all
gonna need
do
a
it
little
together.
clan to take this guy down, and
Yeah. And when she goes back to Castle Wavern, they are just like not even having it. They're like,
Mhm.
nope, nope, nope. I noticed that Broadway wasn't there as
yeah,
well. This is his girlfriend, and he has nothing to chime in. I thought that was so strange that here it is. His girlfriend is dealing with a very intense situation with her mom and connecting with her mom, and her boyfriend is not even anywhere around.
right.
That's 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 a thing. And it's almost like, no, we're not going to actually treat all of our characters like characters here. Okay, you're going to enjoy the cartoon, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it was very. It's one of those moments when you see that it's sort of like that's why I say they have like 70% of this right.
Mhm.
And there's a disconnect with like the rest of what's going on in
It's those random moments, like the Demona. As soon as she mentioned, as soon as Angela mentioned Goliath, she's like Goliath. Brooklyn's the same thing.
yeah, Demona.
Get just Demona.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Broken
And
record people.
yeah, it is a broken record, but it does feel like those responses are from things that have happened in the past we've seen, right?
We know they're valid responses. It's
Yeah.
just it's
To
especially with the Demona one, it's a bit over the top.
yeah. She's
Because
like, "Oh."
not only does she just Goliath is my aunt. She literally stands up, turns around, and goes, Goliath.
Yeah. So true. So true. So true.
We see of his this is the only time we see his face, and I'm
I
like,
know. Who
oh,
is this?
like is it the guy from Japan? Is it
Yeah, I was like, who is this guy? He, seems like he's gonna be somebody formidable.
Hmm, he's clearly
And
somebody formidable. I
yeah,
mean,
because at first I was wondering if it was Macbeth at first,
no,
um,
the voice,
then he started
as soon
talking.
as he
Yeah,
started talking, we're like, that's not
nope,
Macbeth.
that is not it.
I'm like, is it the hunter that escaped?
That's another thing.
You
Yeah, a
know,
hunter. Is he the new hunter?
but
Um,
the mask is wrong for the hunter, and
yeah. It's like, oh well, did they redesign? I was coming up with all sorts of ideas. Like maybe they redesigned it. Maybe this is a new
legit.
thing.
I was hoping it was the head of the quarrymen. The guy who's funding this whole thing because he's got the fantastic technology.
Exactly
He
that.
knows about gargoyles and
Or like even if there was like an elite group of quarrymen that had special outfits and they're
something.
we're thinking a lot harder on this than I think
Than they
they
did.
did. Sorry.
It's truth. It's truth.
So once she's so my thing was like he says right on time, and I was like, okay, so he knows that she was going there. There's only maybe one other person who would have known that she was going to go there.
Mhm.
But also I was like, well, maybe there's somebody else who maybe Demona is, and I thought Demona, but I was like, well, maybe Demona is somebody else is like tracking Demona, and that is part of the reason why he knows that
Mhm.
Angela is going to be there. So there was a couple things I wasn't willing to actually go towards Demona right away because I was actually trying to have a little faith that she was doing a
Yeah.
little bit of changing, a little bit, not full change, but I was like, okay, well, let's see what Demona does there. I was giving her the benefit of the doubt. When Angela gets there, Demona shows Angela like the whole place is gutted out, but there's a secret headquarters right inside where she has like a whole lab and everything where she can track this stealthy person. But just before they get to work, Goliath shows up and Demona like clenches her fists. Like I was trying to figure out like, does she not want him there or what? I think she was trying to get everybody to go there if it was not, but for that moment they show her like with clenched fists. Of the way they drew Goliath's face here.
Just the whole thing. Again, it's kind of cheesy, you know, because
Oh man, okay.
between his expression and her running over and hugging him, it's
Yeah. I mean, she's like, "Oh, mommy and daddy are gonna play together nicely today, for my benefit," and I think that's a great moment for her. But
I understand where she's coming from.
yeah,
Like I've had this conversation with my stepbrother,
yeah.
like about the first time we actually had our both of our parents sit down at a Christmas table.
Oh, yeah.
Since like years after the divorce, and it's like it's weird. So for her to dive so deeply into this, I'm watching this from the side, like, no, this is weird.
Yeah, yeah, especially the history we know that these guys have.
No, they decide we have a common enemy. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and
First time after like the second or third time the quarryman became a problem, I would have started tracking her down.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's the other thing. You're so right. Like she hates humans. These guys are bad.
These are humans that are bad.
Sick them.
He literally took the word out of my mouth.
Go to town.
You want to fight humans?
There you go.
We give you our blessing. They're trying to kill our daughter. Knock yourself out.
I mean, how many times have the quarrymen like got to Angela? It's just ridiculous. Yeah. So
I mean, they joined forces when it was the hunters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are these guys any different?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, the stranger starts attacking, and he's really it's actually quite a good.
It's very formidable.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good action scene. I liked it.
It was one of the best action scenes we've had this season.
I think so. I think so. And then he knocks out Goliath. Goliath is knocked out. Let's first say this. He lures him out of the building and onto the street level. And then there is where they knock him out. And I'm not sure, did they use tranquilizer darts on him?
Yeah, they did.
And
4 of them, I believe.
Ooh, and he's out. And Demona figures out a way to get to
because Angela's going to swoop right in. And, like, Demona stops. She's like, "We're not invulnerable."
Yeah. And they take him away. Angela tries to get the clan to help, but they're still side-eyeing Demona after this last
Brooklyn, same way. She can't be trusted.
Yeah, especially after her last stunt to try to destroy humanity. That I think that was the line. They were like, you're a hot mess, and they're done.
Respectfully, it's Demona. Should they not have expected that?
Yeah. They should have known she was going to do something like that.
It's not the first time she's tried using magic to try and destroy all of humanity. It's kind of her jam.
Yeah, that's her thing. But Angela actually gets through to them. It's really kind of interesting how she does. But they're like, okay, well, we're here to save Goliath. And it's mostly because of Goliath. The stranger has Goliath chained up, and I was like, okay, so I know he wants to kill Gargoyles, but why is he waiting? you waiting on? So like, go, why do you do this? So there has to be something at play here. And that was really telling me
And
something.
he does say to Goliath, you could try and bust out of those, but it'll take most of your strength and effort and blah, 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 so why bother?
Yeah. So they all go out and they're like, okay.
Mona's like,
says,
okay, you guys go that way. I'll draw the fire and go this way. And Angela's like, I will help you. And she's like, no, I don't want to worry about you.
yeah. And so
it seems genuine. It really does.
Yeah. Seems very genuine. She even touches her face very gently. I was trying to take a picture of that. But it didn't work out. Angela was meant to be with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So this next scene that's coming up is
quite like 2 feet of steel.
Yeah, trapped between 2 feet of steel.
I do wonder how do they know it's 2 feet of steel?
I don't know. They can hear it. Somebody knocks on it, taps on it, and they're like,
legit. He's like, scratch. It's 2 feet of steel.
Yeah. So, but I did kind of like this. I was like, okay, so they're going to scratch their way out of this thing. And it's going to take a little while, but all of them working together, they might get through eventually. So I was like, okay, let's do this. But meanwhile, these guys are facing off with this interesting character. It turns out that
singing like a Tweety bird just for the sake of it.
Yeah. And so, like I said, Andrew was not supposed to be here. She was supposed to be trapped behind those walls. And so, since she was here with this whole thing, and not only did she kind of put herself in danger and kind of weakened, the situation for Damona, this guy is like, okay, let me tell you about this.
Let me tell you about Mommy Dearest.
Yeah. Nice. And it turns out that she hired this dude. And
I still don't know how the quarryman got involved with that, because that's the detail we missed.
That's the detail that we didn't miss. It's just not there.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
I needed... Where did the quarryman come into this? Because... That's the last people that she would be willing to team up with.
Yeah. And that connection between the quarryman is with this guy who we don't even know anything about, and we don't have a name.
My biggest frustration in this whole episode.
I looked it up to see if he had a name or if it was.
This guy can go toe to toe with Goliath.
Yeah. He's just,
he's got impressive technology.
Yeah.
He's a throwaway character.
Yeah. He's only in this episode. We know jack diddly squat about him. We don't know his connections with the quarrymen. Nothing. Yeah. So.
Are you fluffing kidding me?
Yeah. That's very frustrating and angering as somebody who's been following this all along. Who's the new kid on the block? Right? Who's this character? Who this? We want to know. We have invested in this show, and so we want to know. Yeah. So that was really kind of disappointing.
Don't give me a character as cool as this and just make him a throwaway.
Yeah, because he was very cool. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what else they do with this guy. And there's nothing more. And so she hired him because she wanted Angela to think that they were getting closer. So the whole process of this whole thing was going to bring them closer together.
Yeah, so this guy could kill off Goliath, and she would get there a second too late.
Yes,
and get welcomed back into the clan. And
yeah, very, 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 very devious plan. And I think when Angela heard this, she was like, "Oh my God, you're insane!
Mhm.
the clan is not, you can't just walk back into the clan like that, and this
Yeah,
is not
that
the way to
would
do it.
they wouldn't welcome you with open arms like that.
Yeah. And also, Goliath is not her enemy, except for when she's making him his enemy, her enemy. And so that's just like, if when you go back to the beginning of this whole thing, and like season 1, episode 1, them together as a couple, and how upset he was when he found out that she might have been killed in the massacre at Wavern Castle. It's
She did it to herself, but she'll never acknowledge.
it's just like he
He's
loved
reanimated.
her. There was real love there between
Mhm.
them, but he really did love her, and he was
Yeah.
very, very upset at that. And now to look back, to come to the present day in this show, and how he's like, just like, hey, you are a bad lady. The way he was looking at her, it was
Mm.
just like, you're bad. And she really is, because this is a new low level for her to be
I
in cahoots with an assassin to create a false scenario where she can seem to be closer to her daughter, and
We
you
only
know
have so many episodes left, and I'm still hoping for a what's the word I'm looking for here? Like the character arc. I
Ooh,
redemption.
yeah, yeah,
Because we saw it at the in like season 2 towards the end.
yeah.
And this whole thing was a complete setback. I'm frustrated with this episode.
Oh yeah, and yeah. I mean, there were some cool things, and then it was like, okay, but you guys don't know what you,
You guys
you
messed the whole thing up.
yeah, you're not you're not understanding.
Mhm.
So anyway, the stranger himself, he just wants to kill the gargoyles. And so the whole deal was defunct to begin with, and so
Yep.
I wasn't really sure again if there was a specific reason, if it's just hate or whatever, or he's in the business of being hired to kill people.
Yeah.
So he's I have no idea if he's just a murderer or what.
We had nothing about this character.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
which is frustrating. And well,
But
Goliath
of course,
is
he goes to shoot Angela, and Goliath hulks out of the chains again.
yes, he breaks out of the chain. And he seems to have just about enough energy that you would
Yeah.
need to kick this guy's butt.
Oh yeah. Dr. Banner, I crashed your car.
Yeah, all that talk about, oh, you're not going to have enough strength. He
Mhm.
had strength. And Demona is caught, but somehow she escapes with a smoke bomb,
Mhm.
which I think is another thing that also made me very upset, because I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, he's like,
that,
"You're not going anywhere." "Oh, you know me better than that."
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's again, like, they don't, they, they didn't pay attention to that is a typical cartoon, Saturday afternoon cartoon trick, right? It is not what Demona would have done season 2.
No.
Um, and so, or what would have
The
really
smoke
happened.
bomb thing is not her.
No,
No.
it's not her MO. And so she escapes, and she's watching Angela fly away. And it is, um, you know, again, she's all by herself.
Mhm.
And again, now I did like this. They have
Because
her like,
Angela chewed her out and left crying.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the episode where she admits that she's alone. And that's what she is. She is
Mhm.
absolutely alone. I did like that part. I was like, okay, well, they got some of it
Yeah.
I'll get too mad at it. And
I'm still mad at this episode.
yeah, there's so Season 3, episode 10, For It May Come True. Goliath's monologue says, how we dream of how things may or may not have been, about wishing things were different.
Mhm.
And the next one is that Elisa is undercover and reports to Goliath that John Castaway has enough ammunition
He
to
has
start a small war.
enough ammunition. He has the same air tank rifle type things that they would have used in World War II.
Yeah. Yeah, where did they get
Legit,
this?
they've got like air cannons, you know, like ground to air cannons.
Yeah. And the thing is, we're the cops. They don't see this.
Well, they finally have a cop there, but
Yeah. And yeah, what with
just it's
Elisa.
not clear whether she's there as a cop
Yeah.
or as a gargoyle friend. And this,
Yeah.
respectively, where's Matt in this whole situation?
Yeah, where's
Isn't
Matt?
he the head of the gargoyle task force?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been gone. I guess
Where was he when Goliath was in jail?
Yeah. I think his contract ran out, and so that
Something.
bring him back. But yeah, you're right. Where is Matt? Matt was supposed to be a big part of it.
Oh my god!
And even
But yeah,
Macbeth was on television defending the Goliath, the gargoyles. But where is he now? So, and he would wipe the floor with Castaway. Okay, where's Macbeth?
somebody.
Somebody like Xanatos. He's got that suit. Remember, he's not trying to fight for these gargoyles or what. Oh my god, I'm just like, it's almost like they had amnesia, or the celebrities had a certain amount of time that they could devote to these characters, or not celebrities, but the voice actors. And so I just think something went wrong here. And so
No kidding, as we see Titania watching this whole situation.
Yes,
as Goliath's getting frustrated, much like the audience is with the quarrymen.
yes.
It's like, these creatures. Why do we keep this up for creatures that'll never accept us?
Yeah,
This isn't new for you.
and
You had these problems back in Scotland.
Yes. Yeah, and it's kind of I think it's easy to see why, because I'm like, yeah, why don't you guys just go back to Avalon, or get out of Manhattan, because it seems like a big
It seems
mess.
like a questionable, like a weird moment for him to be questioning all of this.
Yeah, right in the middle of this.
Honestly, I think they just wanted to create a very It's a Wonderful World type storyline. Because literally this whole episode, it's
basically
It's a Wonderful World.
Yeah, that's It's a Wonderful Life.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because Titania shows him what the world would be like if he wasn't there.
Yes, and it's pretty obvious. Lisa is pretending to be one of the quarrymen, but she takes off her hood.
Takes off the mask. She takes off the hood and she leaves it off. It's the fact she leaves it off. Yeah,
like that's a rookie move. Okay, that is a rookie move. You can't be undercover if you're basically gonna uncover yourself. So. And so they find her very easily, and John Castaway is there, and they have their banter between the two of them. By the way, her skin tone is just completely off here. I mean, and John actually knows who Elisa is. They don't explain that, which would have been really interesting.
Something.
Yeah, something to let us know why he knows who she is. What kind of intel is he exposed to? We know that he's rich, but that doesn't mean that he knows.
What does he know?
Yeah. Yeah. Show me something.
Something.
and he says that everybody is expendable in the war against great evil, but he knows that the gargoyles aren't evil, and they save people on the streets, from crime. And at this point, it's like willful hate that he's doing, but again, he still feels one note. There's something about this that's just, it still makes you feel like it's just one note here. Again, yeah, there's no backstory or anything, or even like the insightful moment when he realized that there's gargoyles in the world and why he would hate them. Like at least that, a little.
Yeah, he was fast to come out with this whole thing after the gargoyles got exposed.
Yeah. Like, was it a nightmare he had one night in a dream? And he's like, yeah, those gargoyles, I know they're going to turn on humanity. Like something. I don't need him to be our best friend. I just want that little thing.
Just a little detail. I mean, they knocked over my cabbage cart. Something.
And so the gargoyles go in to save Elisa, but the weapons are just too intense, and they actually get Goliath in the back, and he bumps into a building, and he's holding on for dear life. But as he's hanging off the building edge, he closes his eyes and wakes up, and he's human. And it is very, very interesting. He's kind of a hot guy. And it turns out that he is married to Elisa. He has 2 kids. There's also a moment where he sees the sunrise, and I wish they had spent a moment, just him like going, wow,
a few more moments on that, because he's like, what? You're not a vampire.
Yeah, like just like, oh my God, I've never seen a sunrise. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
And to enjoy that for a second. It turns out that he works for Xanatos, and he works as the director of the company archives, and he calls it a glorified librarian. And we know how much he loves books, but it's just kind of weird.
I think it's funny he took Lisa's last name.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. And they put him under his first name is I, right?
Or G.
Or G. Oh, okay. I. G.
I'm not sure where the I comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the G right there.
The G, yeah. So his name is Goliath even in this as a human. And so he, as soon as he cannot keep his cool, he's like, all right, I don't need to see Xanatos. Where's Xanatos? And like talks to Owen, and Owen blows him off. But Xanatos is watching all of this, and he's like, okay, well, let's
keep an eye on our angry young employee.
Yeah, and he's willing to take advantage of the situation if need be. Goliath asks his kids to teach him about the internet, and while he's looking in the internet, he doesn't see anything on gargoyles, not one thing. And so he's just completely confused and slowly like losing his mind over this stuff. So he starts talking to Elisa about it, and she's like, well, what are you talking about? Gargoyles don't exist. And he just runs out into the streets in the middle of the night. He's so completely out of his mind about this stuff. I would think, like, as a human being, the first thing he'd want to do is like spend the night with his wife, Elisa.
Right?
Even
I'm not gonna lie, I was half expecting that after the kiss.
yeah. I was like, he's got his priorities all over the place. He goes out wandering in the streets, and 3 thugs attack him. Then the gargoyles come in to save him. And I was thinking to myself, wow, the streets of New York is just as bad as London was in that episode when they visited London, and he sees all the gargoyles, and he's like, "Hey guys, don't you remember?"
And he's like Hudson. Why are their names the same? Particularly, why is Hudson's name the same? Hudson got his name because of Elisa.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Their names should be different, and that it's really actually they shouldn't even have any names, right? Because
it's because of Elisa.
Elisa.
Why do they have names?
And
why do they have the same names?
He's happy to see them, but I think that he's completely crazy, and they're like, okay, let's get rid of this guy. He's insane. He chases after them for a while, but he can't really keep up with them because, of course, he's human. He ends up in the hospital. Elisa and the kids go see him at the hospital, and they ask, "Daddy, are you going to be okay?" And he's like, I don't know. And so that's kind of scary to them. And Elisa comes by, and she's like,
Lisa's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Let me just talk with your father." And Sue's like,
Yeah.
"Have you lost your mind?"
Yeah. And so this is really giving Elisa some animosity towards the gargoyles. The fact that he's talking about them so much.
He's chasing after them. He almost fell off a building.
Yeah, and he could, and he's in the hospital. The injuries must be really severe.
Yeah.
So Elisa admits that she knows about the gargoyles because that's her job as a cop to know all these weird things that happen. But this really is begins this really weird rift between them. And the police are already ready.
One of those, right here. That was felt like such a weird line because she's like, I thought this is like me and the kids was everything you ever wanted. If you keep this up, you're going to lose it all. And I'm like,
that's not her talking.
Yeah, that's Titania talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not her talking. And I thought it was really sad because I was like, yeah, this is what he's always wanted. But I think he's wanted this with the merging his family. He didn't want to sacrifice his gargoyle family for creating a new family. That just wasn't going to work. He wanted everything to work out together. And so the wish should have been, hey, I wish Elisa was a gargoyle. That would fix everything. And so at the police precinct, boy, these guys are intense. They are ready to declare war on the gargoyles, and Elisa is like, I'll lead the attack.
Yeah, people were attacked by these vicious gargoyles, and including the husband of Detective Maza. And we need a task force to round them up and
So there's that going on.
Now we have the cops interested in helping out.
Yeah. And Xanatos shows up at the hospital pretending to want to help Goliath to reunite the gargoyles together with him. They go to Lennox Library, and the gargoyles are just waking up, and Goliath talks to them. He first notices that Angela is not there, and that Bronx is not there.
Of course, Angela's not there, you ding dong.
Bronx is not there because Xanatos killed Bronx. It's cruel, man.
I don't like the Xanatos.
No, this one is really nasty. And
he hurt the doggy.
Yeah, he hurt the doggy.
Even my neighbor's dog is upset about this. I don't know if you can hear him.
Yes, we can hear him. He's very upset. Where's Bronx?
Yeah. It's a bulldog, much like Bronx. So, yeah, it's upset.
And Lisa shows up, and she's in a helicopter. Xanatos is like, you told the cops about us, and he opens fire with his dudes, and wow, it's intense. They actually shoot down the cop. Lisa is on one of the helicopters that just plain out explodes right in front of Goliath's eyes. He's like, what? You can see the reflection of the explosion in his eye. This kind of breaks the spell a little bit because Titania shows up and says that she needs him to be on Earth because he is protecting Fox and Alexander.
In that typical, It's a Wonderful Life type thing. This is what, would have been without you, and you're needed and you're more loved. He was not questioning how loved he was or how important. He just was tired of the quarrymen.
Yes, like we are. Yeah. Can you get rid of those guys? Can you give them some nightmares?
Little help with that. Which actually does kind of work out.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead,
Oh no. Well, yeah, it does. It does work out, and it's really kind of strange because they are a small portion of this actual story. And like you were saying, the main focus was to make this the fantasy of him learning the lesson, like, oh, there's no place like home. But and he's returned back home. That he's needed at home. When he gets back, he goes into Goliath modes and saves the day, which is really awesome to see him, claim that and be the awesome guy that he is. At the same time, this allows Elisa to arrest John Castaway, which you would think it would be the end of the quarryman. We might not see him anymore. We only have
I'm hoping with the next episode there's going to be something tying this up, or
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really simple. The clan is, everybody's happy and everybody goes home. So this episode, I liked it for the fantasy element.
It was still felt like a throwaway.
Yeah, it did. It really, we haven't seen anything that really has consequences.
There's stuff that it kind of needs tying up because they could be better stories, but it's still like the quarrymen. They're finding them. What's John Castaway's? And I don't know if we're going to get these answers.
Yeah, we only have 3 more episodes left.
Yeah,
and unless these are like stellar episodes, it's very doubtful for me that this is going to get tied up at all. But if they do it, I'm willing to let it play out and see.
Well, we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out next week. And guys, we got the homework for next week. Homework for week 21. Our last week, season 3, episode 11, To Serve Mankind. Episode 12, Seeing Isn't Believing. And episode 13, Angels in the Night. And yeah, guys, wow! We made it through 4 episodes today. Thank you so much, Mama Bear, for going through this with me. And we are, on the most part, if you we did have a lot of complaints about this episode. What would you, score? I
hate scoring things.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm no good. I'm no good at it. Honestly, these 4, for the most part, they really could have just been throwaway. They did nothing to, further the storyline, with the exception of Castaway finally getting arrested. Hopefully that means it's going to be the end of the quarrymen.
Would be nice.
But for the most part, more and more I'm going with, the general consensus that they could have just ended it at the end of season 2.
Yeah. And that's yeah. I mean, you always want more. I
do want more, but not this.
This didn't work is not working for me as a true extension of the rest of the tale. Where's the Shakespeare? Where's King Arthur? He's out there. Pendragon. He's loose.
Where are more gargoyles? Because
where are all the gargoyles? Where
more female gargoyles?
What is Macbeth doing? Like, there's so much that's just lost in all of this. And we have so many characters that we've already talked to, we've met them, and we need those callbacks. I thought there would be more with Derek and
Mhm.
the labyrinth. Remember the labyrinth with all those
Mm.
like strange things happening down there?
Hopefully, we will address all of this next week.
Yes, we will. And
Unfortunately.
so yes, everyone, do the homework, and we will convene with you again next week. Thank you again,
Mhm.
Mamabeardoll. This was so
Oh,
much fun.
always.
So we got sorry about that. My audio was muted. So we got through this week, and we have the last three to go. Um, and we're gonna really dive into that. I'm hoping I'm trying to figure out if I know that we're gonna see if we can get Mama Bear Art Doll um on live with me next week. I know it's gonna be really late, but I hopefully I will not start late. I'll start at 9, and then I believe this grouping is only about an hour and 15 minutes. So I'll get through right away. We'll kind of dive right into um, the whole um, review and that's recorded, and then we'll um, see if we can do sort of a live kind of retelling or kind of like last thoughts about the entire seasons, like the first two seasons, the third season. We probably don't need to get into too much, but just general thoughts about the first and second season, which we loved, and just what was so iconic about it. Um, or yeah, and so, yeah, that that's what we're doing, and just to, let you guys know what's happening, um, let me, make sure to give you the homework in this. Okay, here's the homework. While the homework's up, I'm gonna quickly go over what is on the schedule for live streams and fun things that we're gonna do, and, Kimberly mentioned a couple. Let's see, um bear with me. Okay, so the first thing up is that um, I don't know if you guys know about my music channel, but I've been uploading a lot of music on that channel, like almost 2 or 3 times a day. So yeah, there's a lot of music showing up on that channel. Let me see if I can get a link for you guys. So many things happening. It's very, very exciting. Um, so, so here's a link to the music channel. So lots and lots of music being released this week. Um, then we have um, Saturday, the 27th. I'll be doing Young Sherlock Holmes 1985 as my watch party. The reason why I'm doing it is because, first of all, I love this movie, but also there is a young Sherlock Holmes series that's being developed right now. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the future. But just before that, it'd be nice to kind of also appreciate the movie that was done in 1985. Then, let's see. I have next week, of course, we'll be doing Gargoyles, the finale show. And then on for the watch party next week, before the watch party on August 2nd, Kimberly is like all over it, letting everybody know. Yes, my birthday live stream is going to be on August 2nd. I'm going to do that early in the day. And then later on in the day, I'm going to do a watch party for Rebel Moon, the director's cut, to see how that is. It looks like it's going to be significantly different than the part 1 and 2 that was released of Rebel Moon. And so this is going to be very interesting. And it looks like all of the things that I kind of like this kind of genre of filmmaking. So we'll see what that, what pans out. And that is on Netflix. And so the watch party, I believe I scheduled it for 8 o'clock. It's kind of late, but it's on a Friday, so it's it's a good day to stay up a little bit later than normal. And then on Saturday, I am going to be doing The Swamp Thing, which is a movie I dearly adore, even though it's like a guilty pleasure, but it is definitely of the 80s for sure. And yes, thank you so much for remembering that that is going to be my my birthday stream. And let's see. And yes, Swamp Thing, Watch Party, Sherlock, and Rebel Moon. Yes. Thank you so much. You're just like on top of it, letting everybody know about the stuff. So yes, I think that's gonna do it for today. And it's gonna be I don't really have much else to say. I think we covered everything about those those 4 episodes. And they were we had some ups and downs. We had some ones that we really liked, some episodes we really liked, and some that weren't so great, or just felt a little awkward to us. So we will continue and soldier on to the rest of the season, and then of course we're gonna have a little talk about the entire season at the end of everything. So hope to see you there. So without further ado, everybody, thank you for being here. I will see you in the next live stream or fun little thing that we do. Take care. Bye bye.